Okay, you are welcome. So, welcome everybody to this webinar. And as Elisa said before, I'm a communication consultant and a co-founder of Your Digital Web, that is an Italian web agency, and I work both with Italian and international clients, both B2C and B2B, to create a content strategy that can be effective for lead generation. So today we're going to see how to boost your business with effective content marketing. And the agenda is I think that is quite rich, because we're going to see how we can talk about content strategy in a communication plan, how to set up your buyer persona. As you know, the target is the main key in order to create good, effective, amazing content for your business, how to create prompts with ChatGPT. As you know, there are so many platforms of artificial intelligence, but today I would like you to focus on ChatGPT. Of course, if you have any questions about Gemini or Copilot, Copilot Pro, Perplexity, and so on, please, you can ask everything you want to me, but we are focusing now on ChatGPT. And so, how to create content for your blog, for your social channels, for email marketing, and for ads. So your copy for advertising, and also some tips for visual content. So, as you know, the marketing communications plan is very rich and is plenty of activities and many key points, such as the timing, goals, target analytics. And what we're going to see today are all activities that you can see here under the name of channels. So social media, search engines, website, and content. So post for your blog, blog articles, newsletter, social media posts, and so on. But when you have to create a content strategy, you have always to keep in mind this marketing and communication plan. So you have to ask to yourself, why am I doing this content strategy? Which are my goals? Which is my target? Because you don't have to create content for you, for your brand, for your company, but for your target. So first thing first is understanding, deep understanding your buyer persona. So you don't have to create content thinking about, okay, so we have always done in this way, so let's move on like this, because we have always done these things, or my competitors are doing it this way, so okay, good job, I'll do the same thing as my competitors. No, you have to focus on your target. So please keep in mind that when communicating online, in every channel, you have to solve your client's needs. So you have to answer to your target client community audience problems. So which are the main pains and gains of my clients, and try to create your content strategy based on this question. So, how can you study and analyze your target? The first thing is starting from the customer service. If you can work with a customer service, of course. So, for example, you can ask your customer service which are the main preferred products or services, if there are any negative feedbacks. But if you work for smaller company or medium one, just like me, you can't have access to the database of a customer service, so don't worry about that. You can go on social media and try to find some questions that people ask on your Facebook page, Instagram channel, TikTok channel, and so on. Also, you can review your LinkedIn references and try to analyze, if you have ones, of course, Amazon, Trustpilot, Copilot, YouTube references, because these all are the main hub of your target. Then you can realize some surveys. Not panic. Don't be in panic, because you don't need to create a long form surveys or address to a big company of data and survey. You can realize surveys on your own. So, for example, here you can find an example of a very simple and easy survey that I made on LinkedIn. So I'm trying to create my online course about content marketing, AI, and conversion copywriting. So I made this survey asking people in a content and conversion copywriting online course for lead generation what you think is crucial. And so, for example, I discovered that my audience prefers exercises to do in a course. And I was so surprised, because I didn't think that they were interested in exercises, because maybe I was thinking, okay, people are lazy, they don't want to exercise. And I wasn't right, because I found out that people were interested in exercises. So surveys are so important, so useful if you wanted to catch some insight from your target, from your audience. And also you can deep dive on Quora, Reddit, on social discussions. So if there are any Italian people today here with us, Italian people often prefer Quora instead of international people. So especially UK and US people use more Reddit. Quora and Reddit are so similar. They are not social media platforms. They are Q&A platforms, so where people ask for something and other people answer, of course. And often on Quora and Reddit, there are no experts nor not influencers. So keep in mind that influencers are not often so many the biggest football player or TV show, but also people who are recognized as authoritative in their field, in their area. So, for example, think about doctors, engineers. Okay, so you can go on Quora, on Reddit, and for example, if you work for a company or in a company that deals with sustainability, as you can find in my example here, you can search for sustainability in the box, and you can analyze all discussions that came out about sustainability, and also you can deep understand who are the people talking about sustainability. You can click on their profiles, and you can see who they are, which is their job title, why they are talking about sustainability. So you can have you can discover many micro data that are so useful for creating content. Also, you can use some SEO tools, maybe if you run or if you work for a SEO web agency. And so if you work for a web agency, for sure, you use some of these tools. So for example, SEMrush, you can search for example, email marketing. So please, guys, note that all the examples you can find in my presentations are real examples of my experience, of my clients, of course. So, for example, I searched for email marketing because I was managing a client dealing with email marketing, and on SEMrush you can find here, you can see the red box, the name questions. Under questions, you can find all the questions people ask on Google about email marketing. So, for example, you can see here how much does email marketing cost, how to spy your competitors' email marketing strategy, how to check competitors' marketing email marketing, how to check competitors' email marketing campaigns. So, all these are insights for new content. You can, for example, transform all these content ideas into blog posts for your blog, for your website, or you can transform them into texts and body copies for your email marketing strategy, or they can be ideas to create social media posts and so on. So you can start here to create your content ideas. Also, you can use keywords people use. I love this tool because, as you can see, it is more graphic. We can see more visual. And starting from one keyword, you can find many related keywords you can use as your content ideas. But also, we can use our dear friend ChatGPT. So please use ChatGPT just as a tool. I always remember this into all my classes. Um, don't think, okay, now there is ChatGPT, so I can sit here on my chair waiting for my results because ChatGPT will do all the job. No, it's not the truth. ChatGPT is a revolution, as all AI, of course, but you have to deeply understand how to use it. It is a tool, but it can be it can replace your expertise, your mind, your brain, your knowledge of the projects, the clients, and so on. So this is an example to use a ChatGPT to find your buyer persona. So for example, my company is a B2B. We created an app to analyze SAP in real time that allows for the optimal use of resources such as water, fertilizers, and so on. Identify at least 3 kinds of targets. And ChatGPT gives me this result that is quite good, I think. Maybe you agree with me. So it says, okay, so one kind of target can be agricultural enterprises and large scale farmers. The second one, edgy tech companies and crop consultants, and also food and beverage corporations. So this is a B2B startup that deals in the agricultural field. And so it can increase the productivity of agricultures. So I think that these 3 kinds of buyer persona can be good enough, but it's not enough for me. So I try to develop my chat with ChatGPT, and I asked to it. Now, based on the data before, create the perfect buyer persona in a table. So I don't want a descriptive text, but I want a table because for me it's easier to understand, and for my also for my brain, for my memory. And it gives me this table that is very impressive for me. So buyer persona and all details, the age, location, goals. But the most important thing here is the box called challenges, pain points. So which are the main pain points of my target? So for example, high operational costs due to inefficient resource use, limited access to real-time plant health data, pressure to meet sustainability, and so on. Because these are the problems my target, so my client's target, has. So it's extremely important for me to create content that are the solutions for these pain points of my client. So can you see how important is to study your target before creating content? And then you have to use effectively in an effective way the prompts for ChatGPT, because Many people still think, okay, ChatGPT doesn't work. Is not the truth. ChatGPT works and works very well, but only if you know how to use it. So keep in mind that it's a tool, okay, a tool like many other tools that you daily use in your job life. It allows us to save a lot of time, but it can't replace your brain and your expertise and can make errors. So especially when you ask the ChatGPT to get you some data or some sources, some website sources. So please double check manually these data. There is no one way, one unique way to create prompts, but here you can find my roadmap that is a roadmap that I daily use, and is effective for my job. So maybe it can be a suggestion for you. You can try to use it and test it on your projects. So start with a context. So you have to describe the situation to ChatGPT. Please keep in mind that you have to be as more specific as you can, because you have to address ChatGPT and not the opposite. Then describe the target. So be specific. Also, you can introduce some details. So, for example, the tone of voice that you would like ChatGPT gives you, maybe some more details, some examples, and finally a strong call to action. So what you do you want ChatGPT wants for you, which is the result, the desired result from ChatGPT. So, for example, I have to create an email marketing strategy for a brand that sells air conditioner for warehouses. So you see, this is the context, okay, the situation. And then target. Target is composed by managing directors, purchasing managers, and business owner. Okay, CTA, get me at least 10 headlines for my newsletters and some details. So, for example, use a friendly tone of voice, write as you were a human journalist. This is a suggestion for you. Always be specific when writing your prompt. So, say to ChatGPT, write as you were, for example, a journalist or a social media manager or a digital professionals or a software engineer. So because otherwise ChatGPT tends to be so repetitive, so generalist, okay, because yeah, it's a kind of robot, of a computer. And another suggestion for you, a pro tip, please try to use, of course, this is the paid version of ChatGPT. Okay, I suggest you to buy the paid version of ChatGPT because it works very well. Please, if you work in content creation, don't use the free version of ChatGPT. Is not enough for you. So use the deep research. As you see, you can go here on the main menu and select deep research. Here it's in Italian, but you don't care about that. In English, it's the same, deep research. What is the deep research? So when you search for something on ChatGPT using the classical research, ChatGPT gives you results maybe into 10 seconds, more or less. It depends on the search, but let's say 10 seconds. But when you use deep research, the timing of a response of ChatGPT is longer. It can be also 30 minutes, not 30 seconds, 30 minutes long, but the quality of your outcome will be excellent. Excellent, amazing. Deep research is fantastic for fields like finance, science, public policy, engineering. So when you have to obtain something that is very reliable research, very accurate, very specific. So if you work in one of these fields, finance, science, engineering, software, SaaS, and so on, please use the deep research. And then we can start talking about the content creation, because we have seen that we have to start from our marketing communication plan. We have to try to better understand our target and which kind of content our target wants. We have understood how to create effective prompt, and now we are ready to create content for different marketing channels. So first of all, an example using ChatGPT. I asked to ChatGPT, I have to write an article for an online magazine because, yes, also at my 30 years old, I decided to become also a freelance journalist. So I started to write for many magazines. Of course, all articles are mine. I never use ChatGPT, copy and paste what ChatGPT gives me and paste it into online magazines. Okay, I use ChatGPT just for inspiration, for content research, content ideation. Okay, not for content creation. So I have to write an article for an online magazine that covers various topics, lifestyle, travel, and so on. I needed to talk about the most popular summer destinations among Italians for summer. Find this destination, explain why they are the most popular. In addition, tell me which types of people, target groups they are most suitable for. Don't forget the segment of families with children. Do this research as if you were writing the article as a professional journalist. Do not include the sources. Be so accurate. Okay. And ChatGPT gives me these results: Amalfi Coast and Cilento in Campania, why they are so popular, and they are best for couples, food lovers, and so on. Maybe you, international people, think about Amalfi Coast as a pizza, pasta, the sea, and so on, and you are completely right. And then Sardinia, maybe I think the most wonderful sea we have in Italy, and Sicily, and so on. So I don't use ChatGPT um, to copy this content and paste it into my article for my online magazine, but I use ChatGPT just to do brainstorming as I were talking with another journalist. And oh, okay, what do you think about that? For inspiration, for content research, not for content creation. Okay. You can use the ChatGPT to create content such as headlines that are so important in communication. So, for example, for a press release, write three impactful headlines for a press release about a new partnership between a bank and a major technology provider. Use an authoritative tone of voice, of course, because it's a bank, it's not, I don't know, something for children, for kids, but also empathetic and effective. Include numbers in the headline. As you see, it's me that I tell ChatGPT that it has to use numbers. Why? Because I know that one of the rule of web copywriting, persuasive copywriting, is including numbers in the headline, because numbers um, give a sense of something very concrete, and they increase your leadership in a specific area. So I address this information to ChatGPT, and this is the result. So here are three impactful headlines: one, two, three. As you see, ChatGPT follows my instruction. So now have I to copy and paste these headlines for my press release? No, I wouldn't suggest you to do this. I use these three ideas as a brainstorming, so maybe I can mix one of them with another. So, for example, I like the third one, so 50% faster services. Maybe I can use this sentence, 50% faster service, and then I continue the sentence, the headline with my own words. Okay. And then you can create a sort of headlines for LinkedIn post that is not a headline, but a sort of hook that has to grab the user attention. So, for example, write the three effective hooks for a LinkedIn post to get engagement and questions from project manager and safety manager of hospitals for Isaac Technology, that is a B2B startup technology, that is my client. And the LinkedIn page is, so as you can see, I tell to ChatGPT the LinkedIn page is, so it can better understand which is the kind of content that is already published on this LinkedIn page, write the headline hook, and then the entire post. So I'm asking to do just two things, not one. First of all, tell me a good headline, and then write me the entire post for LinkedIn. So I think that this is a quite good result because it gives me three different releases, and in every release it starts with the problem, then the solution, that is of course Isaac technology. It includes some emojis, and then the CTA with some hashtags. So please pay attention to emojis and hashtags when working with ChatGPT, because when you include when you add or write the word social in your prompt, immediately ChatGPT connects to emojis and hashtags. So, for example, for my opinion, considering the brand positioning of this startup, emojis here are too many. They don't work. So I have to delete most of them and maybe use just one or two, because I know my client, I know his its positioning, its branding, okay, its audience. So ChatGPT doesn't know this, but I know this because I use my brain, my expertise. So I have to adapt, to adjust what ChatGPT gives me in order to obtain a better result. And then you can use ChatGPT to create content for your blog. So, for example, write a blog article about mobile winning in logistics. Um, of maybe at least X words, and with the title "The Maintenance of Forklifts." So now, after months of work of ChatGPT, we can say that the result for blog posting is quite good, but pay attention, because when you ask ChatGPT to create content for blog, is often repetitive, redundant, exaggerated. So I always add in my prompt, please don't be exaggerated. Please avoid words such as fantastic or excellent or amazing or things like that. Okay, so I I'd not suggest you to use ChatGPT to write blog posts, but just to find inspiration. So, for example, I have to write this blog post that is about, I don't know, mineral water. Okay, so please tell me which are the main topics, at least five main topics that I can develop into my article. Okay, so you have a list of the main key points, key content points that you can develop on your article, but you have to write. Starting from these points, you have to write your content. Okay. In fact, I think that maybe 1 year ago, yeah, 1 year ago, I asked to Julia McCoy, that is a content strategy who lives in Texas. She's American, and I'm in connection with her. And I asked her some questions. So, for example, I asked her, what do you think about ChatGPT on content marketing? And she says, okay, ChatGPT, she's relying on a creative, skilled human to optimize and humanize the content before it goes out. So ChatGPT can't humanize this content. So you have to do it. Also because I'm running some tests with my clients, and with one of them, that is a sort of a friend for me, because we have been working together since 7, 8 years. I said I sent him two blog posts. One that was written by ChatGPT, and one that was written by one of my professional copywriter. And when Francesco, my client, received the blog post written by ChatGPT, he said to me, "Oh, Valentina, but what's this? What's going with this article? Because I don't like the quality. It's not the same professional copywriter who has written this article, right?" And I said to him, "Yes, Francesco, you are right. I made you a sort of joke, and it was a test." So. With this example, I want to share with you, I want you to keep in mind that people are understanding that a content is produced by ChatGPT, and it's it's not. It's quite normal that we use ChatGPT, but if you work with in content marketing, you have to personalize your content, okay? Because people understand that a content is made by ChatGPT, and yeah, it's okay, but the risk for you is that you produce all content that is similar, one piece of content similar to another, and it's not good for your job and for your brand image, of course. And then which are the limits of ChatGPT? And she says, okay, maybe ChatGPT doesn't know to research at the top of Google SERP. Now we have a AI overview, okay, and often stops at these words. So now ChatGPT has evolved. It can gives you many words, but please remember that it's a tool, okay? Then you can create content with ChatGPT also for your social channels. So, for example, create the editorial plan for the LinkedIn page of this B2B company. So I asked ChatGPT to write the detailed editorial plan divided by days, plan for 2 posts per week for 1 month. For each post, also write the CTA and which kind of multimedia content you would include. Provide this editorial plan in a table format. Keep in mind which is the target, and write if you were an expert social media manager. So please note that the prompt is very specific, is very detailed. And voila, the result of ChatGPT, it's so good. Um, it says which are the main editorial themes I can cover on my LinkedIn page, the LinkedIn editorial calendar, so the frequency, the target, the goal. And as you can see here, you can find all the week, the date, the post topic, the content type, the CTA, and also which kind of multimedia images, videos, carousels, so things like that that I can add to my post. Also some additional tips, for example, the tone of voice, the engagement hooks, the hashtags, and so on. Then I asked it would you like me to adapt this into a downloadable Excel or ready to share Google Sheet version? I tried to download the Excel, and as you can see here, there are the Excel of my editorial plan that is so good. So um, I didn't copy this editorial plan and paste it into my report and send it to my client. I started from this editorial plan to create my own planning. So, for example, number one, week one, post title topic: why systemic safety can't wait, the true cost of inaction. It can be good for me. Okay, so I can use it. Okay, but then, so for example, client's story, no, because my client doesn't want to share his study now at this point of its business. Or behind the patent, no, I don't like this kind of content, so I can change something. So use ChatGPT and its results as a sort of starting point to create and develop your own content. And also for emails. So, for example, email objects, write for persuasive subject lines for an email inviting colleagues at a banking institution to register for a series of webinars on effective workplace communication. Use a tone that is warm but professional, and it gives me some results. Also, in this case, I'm not going to use the same identical headline, but I'm going to modify, to change them, also knowing my client. Or for the newsletters. So, for example, I needed to send a newsletter to all my subscribers who are marketing managers, freelance web marketers, so the target, uh, which is my goal. Informing them that my course on conversion copywriting, content marketing, and lead generation copy is finally online. So, CTA. Write the text for the newsletter using a professional, empathetic tone of voice. Do not use emojis, hashtags, and avoid overly colloquial or friendly expressions. Write the newsletters as if you were an expert copywriter. And I liked so much this result of ChatGPT. I I'm pretty sure that you also guys agree with me. In this case, I could just copy and paste this result because for me it's amazing. As you can see, it says this course was designed with a clear goal to help you. So I'm the solution for your problem. And then it highlights the benefits, the advantages of this course. So practical frameworks, real case studies that you can immediately apply to your work, and so on. And then the CTA, learn more about the course and get started today. So a very straight to the point call to action. So for me, it's very good result. And then also you can create content with ChatGPT for your copy for advertising, so social ads, so Google ads, and so on. So in this case, I don't use ChatGPT to create from scratch my content, but I ask it to check if, in its opinion, my copy can be suitable for my conversion goals. So, for example, I wrote the copy for an aid on Meta for a B2B company that works in the anti-seismic sector. The target is blah, blah, blah. It's important to communicate that. So I'm very specific here. So CTA, tell me what would you improve in the copy. I'll paste here below and write another example of an idea I could test. So I asked GPT to check my present copy and to create another version, another release, another better release, I hope, in order to better understand which parts of one copy I can use and which parts of the other copy I can use and mix them together. Analyze and write it as if you were a meta expert. And this is my copy. So I pasted my copy here on ChatGPT, and this is the result. It says, okay, so your main points are that your copy is so clear. Start with a number. It clearly explains the innovative nature of the solution, highlight the benefits, but you can improve these areas. So the opening stat is good, but it could be better. There's now a strong call to action, and so on. And this is its proposal. So, is your hospital ready for the next earthquake? So, personally, I don't like this headline. Is your hospital ready for the next earthquake? It seems like, okay, yeah, wow, amazing. Maybe there is a next earthquake and you have to be prepared. So it seems something like with irony, with something that is positive correlated to an earthquake that personally I lived, and I know that is a tragedy. So I don't like this kind of headline. I never use this kind of headline. The copy can be interesting, and it says maybe you can start with the more relevant questions, but not just this. Use shorter sentences for mobile readability. Yes, this is a good suggestion. Repeat maybe some benefits, and ends with a very specific call to action. So, for example, book a free assessment, maybe a clearer call to action. Now, create some images to test that you would use to accompany this copy, because I asked ChatGPT to create some copy, but also, as you know, I need multimedia content. And this is the result. Okay, I think that it's not so bad, but it's clear that it's not a result from a web designer. As for images, I would suggest you to use Microsoft Copilot Pro, the Pro release. So the paid release for me is better than ChatGPT. So I've finished my presentation. If you have any questions or thoughts that you wanted to share with me and with us, I'm at your here to answer to all your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Valentina, for this very interesting insight and also for sharing your experience. Now, I would leave the floor to our viewers who can use the chat section to share their questions or their doubts, thoughts, and comments. I actually already see one that it's more. Yes, it's AI related, but more within the context of Website X5. Namely, we do have an integration which is called Magic Text, and it's a text generating assistant, basically. And Tony is asking, how can this tool, so Magic Text, help for content creation? I would say by the rules, I think, regardless of the tool that you, correct me if I'm wrong, Valentina, regardless of the tool that you're using, the rules that has to be applied as far as using AI is concerned when you create content are pretty much the same. So I would suggest to follow the tips that Valentina gave us. Not stick with the original content that is created with the AI, even if you're working within Website X5, try to add your own thoughts, your own addition, adjust your texts to your specific Website X5 project, and I'm pretty sure you will be successful. Now,
Yes,
let's see if
exactly.
someone else is asking questions. While we wait, I do have a question. Namely, is there a trend, Valentina, that you have noticed nowadays that does concern the use of AI, not necessarily in a positive way, but can you actually spot when people tend to use too much
Yeah.
of the AI? Yes. And where does it happen more?
Yes, of course. So, in my experience, it happens more when creating content for blog posts, because a blog requires an effort that is so important, because it's a sort of money and timing effort. So many journalists, many copywriters tend to use ChatGPT to create content, and but it's okay. It's okay because it's the reality, and it's a tool that every copywriter, every journalist has to understand how to use it. But considering that it's a tool, so it can't replace you as a person. So for example, in my experience, it happened to me that working on a client, I asked to one of my copywriter to write an article that was very difficult because it was a niche, but it gives me an article that was 99% made with ChatGPT, and you can discover it both because your eye is now let's say can understand maybe some key points of ChatGPT. So, for example, some exaggerated words or data that are not so effective, so real, but also because there are so many tools that can help you understand if a content is 10% or 80% or I don't know, 90% made with ChatGPT. So it's not good because the copywriters are paid to create content. Okay, if they use ChatGPT, but as a tool, not to sit on their chairs and okay, so let's ChatGPT do all my job. So this is not good.
Okay. And do you think it would be worth it to possibly introduce some courses about the actual good use of AI for content creation in contexts such as schools or universities, for instance?
Yes, of course. Yeah, and I think that it's not quite the present, but I heard something that maybe in the next future, so maybe into some months, it can be reality. So because also I think that it can be so necessary, because also now I see that my daughter, my little girl, who is 7 years old, uh, tries to use also AI overview on my smartphone, for example, when searching for something with a vocal search, because she's 7 years old and she doesn't want to type into my smartphone, but she only uses vocal search because it's quicker. It's
It's easier,
quicker. Yeah, and so I think that it can be a real fun fact that we have to develop for our next future generations.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Valentina, for this
You're
very
welcome.
interesting insights, and thank you all, guys, for your attention. And I hope I will see you guys in the next no, webinar. And I wish you all a very nice day ahead. And bye bye to anyone. Bye.
Thank you all, guys. Bye bye.